Hi there. Like for the past 4 years, I had basically like a review every year, like every Christmas around that time. Like back when I actually did reviews, which wasn't that long ago. I think about it, but yeah, for 4 straight years, I had at least one Christmas episode. And like recently, I've been doing a lot of personal stuff, so I haven't gotten anything. I haven't really started any projects on that, so I don't have one. I don't have like a full review this year. So instead, I'm gonna talk about three finales that I saw like over a weekend, like over the course of a weekend. I saw like the finales of like three different things. And it's interesting. Like the one was like the last show for Stephen Colbert. One was the Legend of Korra finale, and I saw The Hobbit: The Battle of Five Armies. This is going to be interesting. I think I'll start off with the Colbert one because that was a simpler one. That was kind of interesting. You could tell that it was kind of like the last day of school. Like instead of like trying to like get like a whole encapsulation of like what the show is about, or like just trying to take like doing like a standard like a show as usual, like just by doing like one final big segment, or just one, or like a more like one big takedown or something like that. It was a bit more like subdued. There was a and I like this. There was a last word, and I remember watching this with I was over visiting my girlfriend, and we were watching this, and I actually like inaudibly squealed, like I was doing this, like when he did like the last tonight's word. That was fun. It's kind of weird because for the past few weeks I hadn't kept up with Colbert or Stewart. So I decided, you know what, it's Colbert's last week, I had to tune in. Because while I'm not exactly in a good I'm not exactly in a good space, not the best space, not particularly awful, but things could be better. But it's like I haven't been watching his show. And often I would prefer Stewart, because Stewart, like Stewart wasn't a character mostly. He was actually digesting it and just basically a lot of times viscerally tearing it apart. I should probably watch John Oliver now. I should probably catch up on last week tonight. I heard I've actually seen a couple of those episodes that were really good. But with Colbert, it's interesting because like both Korra and like Legend of Korra was like the successor to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and what Colbert has been up for like since 2005. Actually, both shows started. I think they both Avatar: The Last Airbender and Colbert started in 2005. Big year 2005. Holy shit! But with Colbert, I got into Daily Show and Colbert in junior high school. Like that was when I started like becoming more. That was when I started becoming more aware of things outside of my world. That was like I was in junior high when Avatar ended, and I was in junior high like when I started like watching Stewart and Colbert. And I actually during that time I have two. I think Colbert only wrote 2 books, or well technically 3 books if you count the kids book, I Am Pole and So Can You. But in junior high school, I had bought, or either got or received as a present, I'm America and So Can You, and I read that during the study hall classes. And I loved the format of that book because it was like there's some like there were some that were some of the participation stuff. I don't know how much of it was actually participation. Like there was like the part near the end where you have like, hey, here's like 12 stickers or 12 or 16 stickers of like the Stephen T. Colbert literally accidents, and you can stick them on like whatever book you want. And I feel like one of those days I'm actually gonna pull out that book and just put the stickers on like all my favorite books, like not the cover but like on the inside cover. like, you know, Never Ending Story or Strawberry Panic, Predicting a Wallflower. That'd be kind of fun. Or like take one of John Green's books and just be like, okay, just definitely put it over the Adams Award or whatever the crap awards he actually has displayed on his book. But like, I love the format of the book because it was basically like the book was basically one long Tonight's Word segment. Because it was like formatted like a Tonight's Word segment because you had like the main text of the book, and then off to the sides you have the snarky text. I remember something. I remember a part in the book where it was talking about like different religions of the world, and bringing up like Japanese Shinto religions, which although now that I think about it, I might not be as it might not. I don't know the context. I can't remember much of the context of it, so it might not sound, you know, all too decent. But basically, it was something. But it was something like, you know, talking about like all like how there's the Japanese Shinto religions where there's countless gods, and then off to the side like Pokemon, you have to catch them all. Like, oh my god. But it was. I should probably actually read that one again and read the other one that I actually have, but I haven't started reading. I want to read that now so I can actually kind of grasp what he's actually talking about in those books. Because I read that in junior high school. I was like, like whatever. Like the thing about, you know, being like a young teenager in junior high school, like no matter how smart you are, you're not all that smart. You're still figuring things out. You're still learning about all these things. So I think it would be a really good idea to go through both of those books, and like with the mindset of I have sort of an idea of what's going on. Like I know I have more of an idea of what's going on than I did when I was 14, 16, right? But I want to go back and actually read, what was Colbert talking about during the Bush years? What's in this new book is like, you know, what he's talking about, like, you know, during the beginning of the Obama years. So that'd be kind of fun. If you haven't seen the Colbert finale, it's the last Tonight's Word segment. Then a thank you to the Prescott Pharmaceuticals and this cheating death thing, and where she actually ends up killing Death. Like shooting Death, like in the Ingmar Bergman motif there, and like shoots him, and they goes, "Oh my god, I killed Death! That means I'm immortal!" And then he brings out like a random claymore, and just like, "I am immortal! We'll be right back!" And I'm like, "The quickening!" I only know Highlander because of Spoonie 1. I could talk about the first Highlander movie, but it's getting off topic. Stay on target. Anyway, and then when it comes back, it's like he kind of gives it like his last farewell, and then it leads into this big long musical number, like, you know, them singing Some Sunny Day or some song. I'm not sure what that song title actually is. Like, we'll meet again, friend of friend or some shit like that. But like he starts singing, and then Jon Stewart comes in, and then like more and more people start getting in there, like Sam Waterston and Peter Jackson, and like Cookie Monster and Big Bird. Like almost everyone gets in on it. It's great. It's fantastic. It's a big long thing, like just leading the audience into it, and like it's like this big huge group of people singing, and then it gets to the end. Like, or it's like where you see him perched on top of the rooftop. No, the part that made me so sad, that made me really sad. Like, despite me not keeping up with the show a lot, sometimes, it was when they I think it was like when it crossfades, like from the people singing into an empty studio, and then the camera just, you know, flies, just kind of slowly glides around the studio, like behind the desk, and then you see the painting where it's like each year, like commemorating each anniversary of his show. it would, like, he would have, like, a new portrait. It would be, like, a portrait of the original portrait in there, right? So it became, like, a portrait within a portrait within a portrait, you know, portraitception kind of thing, right? And it pans over the portrait, and there's nothing there. Like, there's still, like, you know, there's still the whole portrait and the portrait thing, but he isn't there. He's in none of the pictures. He's in none of the portraits in that portrait. And I go, oh. Like, that stung. That was cruel. But then it goes into, this weird little segment where it's like, he meets up with Santa Claus and Abraham Lincoln, and Santa Claus is like, hey, jump in! And it's Alex Trebek in the back. It's like, he who has all the answers, and he who has all the answers, and it's Alex Trebek. Like, okay! And then, like, it goes to, like, you know, goes to another commercial, then it comes back, and it's him, it's like, Alex, like, tells him, hey, dude. And then Colbert, like, you know, like, basically has himself, like, you know, does the thank you, and, you know, like the big, you know, serious thank you to everyone watching all that, and, you know, signs off. And so it was a decent ending. It was a decent closure, and, well, at least I'll be actually watching The Late Show now, or at least try to be watching The Late Show more, because he's gonna, of course, from what I've seen, he doesn't take over Letterman until, like, I think, like, Letterman's last day is, like, in May. So we won't be seeing, like, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert until much later on next year. We will be seeing The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore. That'd be nice. That'd be fun to see. That would be interesting of what they do with that, especially, like, in the time that we have now. Like, I wonder what kind of voices, like, because I remember that a show being pitched as, like, having a panel of discussion of, like, underrepresented voices, whether it be, like, you know, like, they're trying to frame it as underdogs, and whoever that might be. But I think, you know, underrepresented voices, that'd be interesting. So, particularly, I am interested in, like, wondering if they would ever be bringing in, like, not just LGBT people, but, like, specifically, like, you know, transgender, or even, like, you know, some actual non-binary voices in there, if you can find some. I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, a lot of people are on the internet nowadays, so I'm pretty sure it would be easy to find. But that would be, I'm looking forward to that show. I think I said all I can really say about Colbert. The next one was Korra, and I had with Korra, there was a long period where I didn't really keep up with Korra. In fact, I didn't really. It wasn't until, like, after season 3 had aired that I started getting back into. No, I think it was, like, you know, over partway through season 3 where I finally got back into Korra, because it's like I watched the first season when it came out, like, on TV, and then I watched, like, half of season 2, and then just kind of stopped after a while, like, for a while, and then, like, I was over at a friend's house who were saying, hey, let's finish up Korra, and then, like, we watched, like, most of the rest of season 2. And then I go home and I watch some more, and then I catch up with season 3, and then I was able to watch, you know, season 4, like, as it was coming out. And, like, the thing with, like, I've made videos before. If anyone if anyone actually bothers to go back and look through some of my older videos, there's one video, I think it was, like, I was celebrating, like, 7 or 5 years. I think it was, like, 5 years on YouTube, where I go into this long-ass story about where I started when it came to videos. And Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of helped me that. Like, that was, like, the big fandom that I really got into. Like, there were, like, maybe some other shows into that, like, before then, that I got kind of into, especially with, like, little pockets of shipping, that kind of stuff. But no, Avatar was, like, big. Like, at least for me it was. Like, we got, like, a Dish Network, like when we got like the day that came out. So I was able to watch like the premiere like maybe 3 or 4 times, because we had like the East Coast and the West Coast channel, and they aired it twice. But that became like, that was like my big show for a long time, like at least until after the show ended. At least up until after the show ended. And like watching Korra again, like watching Korra, I wasn't as involved with the Korra fan base as I was with with Airbender. That might be because of like, you know, time in terms of monopolies and stuff like that, but or just how I kind of grew up into a different kind of person than I was in like, you know, 5th to 8th grade. But I wasn't as involved. Like, you know, I admired artwork. I read a few fanfics, but I wasn't huge into it, you know. And I kind of just like, even with something like, you know, Korrasami, like the Korrasami thing, that became like one of the big ships, especially for people who like, you know, a lot of girl pairings, and I do. But I guess like for some reason it never grabbed out to me that much. And seeing the show ending, I actually did basically cry at the ending of that, because it's like the memories from Avatar and the regret of not being involved enough while the show was airing, while Korra was airing. It all just kind of flowed in at once, and it became it was almost overwhelming. But that finale, that was well done, and they actually had somebody do. I was amazed that they managed to kill someone off screen on that. That was interesting. Like, it's really interesting when you get down to it, because like you had Hiroshi Sato, Asami's dad, and like he was like one of the he wasn't the main villain of season 1, but he was one of them, right? He was a villain, like minor villain, but still. And then you see him like being redeemed in this season, and then like getting his last hero Korra, and then dying. And the part that killed me, like in that scene, it wasn't necessarily him dying, but it was right before where it's like he says, "I'm sorry," like, you know, as he's cutting open the like a hole into the leg of the robot, into the Colossus. It's like he's cutting it open, and he presses Asami's ejection seat, and they put, like, you can tell at certain points when they decided, okay, we need to have this be a focus. Like, you know, you can tell like where they, you know, either slow it down so it's like the animation is very fluid. They made sure like Asami's reaction, like as she's being ejected from her seat, they made sure that you could see every frame of every drop of emotion out of that scene. That killed me. That was amazing. It's like they knew damn well where to put some of the chunks of the animation budget into there. They knew exactly where to do it. Like whether it be like in the final, some of the big, you know, some of the big, you know, fighting moves, and in like a piece of like raw emotion in those few seconds. That was amazing. And then to top it all off, to top all that shit off, they actually have like legit Korrasami, like you know, you could probably count it as hinting in the same way that a Japanese anime hints at lesbian couples. To be fair, in Korra, they're both bisexual, or at least they're both bisexual, basically. Or you can read them as such because they both did in Mako. But it's interesting to actually see this. Like, it's something that it's really interesting, and it was actually kind of gratifying, because with Airbender, I was not on the side of Qatar and Aang, which is, you know, stupid kind of, you know, stupid kind of 15-year-old me at that point. 14? Whatever. But, you know, stupid 14 to 15-year-old me, right? I think I was 14 when that show ended. But yeah, like stupid 14-year-old me, like, you know, getting really involved in something. Like when you're, the thing about like, you know, like the early teens is that you get really passionate about stupid things. Because it's like you're finding something to be passionate about, and it's usually for things that, it's usually just kind of things that you're, it's like you kind of feel like you're supposed to be passionate about things. But then you kind of start, but then like over time you kind of realize it's kind of stupid, you know. Like you have to find a passion in the right things. But you know, shipping, it's very when it comes to passionate about shipping, you have to find a very good reason to do it. But with the Avatar: The Last Airbender finale, I was stupid me. I was on the side of like Toph and Aang, which explains a lot about me when it comes to how I ship things, because I like a lot of contrast. I like a lot of like I like juxtaposing personalities. I like that, at least in terms of like romantic couples, but you know, like, you know, 14-year-old me not really grasping things, and I also wasn't crazy about Katarning, because I don't know, I don't know, I probably, you know, for reasons that probably don't make much sense anymore, you know, to me at least. But you know, back then I was disappointed with the ending. You know, now it's just like, yeah, I've softened a little. It's like, this is a pretty fucking cool ending, and yeah, like this is something that they've been hinting at since the beginning, since day one. So of course. But here, like with Korra, it's like, you know, Korrasami is like, you know, out of all the ships in the show, it's like, yeah, that's the thing I do like the most. I do like more. That's like the ship I do like more, a bit more. Like I still have some issues with it, but not issues with it, but it's weird to actually see it happen. Like at least as much as they can show. But it was interesting to actually see something that I do like and actually have that be like seeing a ship that I like and seeing it essentially become canon, like, you know, so become like basically real in the canon of the show. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. It's not a feeling that I feel often, you know. But there's so many things I could talk about, but it's nice that they did this. It's nice that they did this with how they could, with what they were able to do. Like they could, like, it's like, from what Brian Konietzko put on his Tumblr, like he declared it as canon, and so that's very nice. And he said that like that the executives were supportive of the idea, but they knew that they can't really go all out with it. They can't really have them kiss or have it be developed much further. But they did. But like, so they were able to do what they had. What they were able to do, what they were like in their, yeah, like in the constraints that they had, which is nice, very nice. I just got done watching like Doug and Rob Walker's vlog about the Korra finale. Like they brought up something that was something like they wish that it was a bit more developed. Like they wish that the Korra and Asami thing was a bit more developed, but they also know that they probably couldn't that much. And I kind of felt like that sometimes. Like Asami's kind of a bizarre character to me, because it's like, when you get right down to it, she has like the most character. Like she has a lot of shit happen to her. Like not as much as Korra maybe, but it's like the first season she's like the first season she is like, you know, she's basically estranged from her father. Like finds out that her father is actually serving like Amon or serving evil, and just goes and has to you know, turn on her father, and then like in the second and third season she has to deal with like the whole future, you know, handling, you know, becoming a CEO, becoming like a leader of this company, and having to deal with all this shit that goes on with that. And it's like she has a lot of stuff that happens to her in her character, and yet she never feels. It's almost like she doesn't show a lot. I probably have to watch the show again, but it doesn't seem like she shows all that much character, except for like, you know, being very nice. It's very weird. It's like she's almost out of the uncanny valley in terms of like characterization, where it's like it doesn't seem like she's being. It seems like she should be developed. She should be like a lot more developed at this point, but she almost doesn't feel all that developed to me. It's really weird. I have to watch this again just to make sure that's the case. So as such, when it comes to the Korrasami thing, it's like I like it, but they don't seem. But it's like it's not. I'm not passionate about it because I don't have a sense of, because it's like I don't have. It's like I'm not all too. It's like I'm not fully interested in Asami, at least. To be fair, that couple seems to be a bit more like Mako has a. I get who I do kind of get who Mako is. In a much different way. Like he's a different type of character. Bolin, honestly, I like Asami, but I do like Asami. But Bolin is always was kind of like the character who's just like he's there. And he does a lot of good stuff. It's just that I only like him when he does the good stuff. Like whether it be like, you know, fighting off people in like season 2 or actually like, you know, showing some character stuff in season 4 and all that kind of stuff. But Bolin always just kind of seemed like not Sokka to me. And it's very evident when he's trying to tell jokes. Like when it's always like the awkward thing where it's like he's just goofing around and no one's laughing. It was hard to really grasp onto him because he's just not funny. Like his awkwardness is not funny. And his awkwardness, like, and I know that I think they intended that, like they intended like him being not funny as being a part of him. But the thing is, when he's not funny, even on purpose, he's still not funny. So it's like it's hard to really enjoy him as a character when he's just trying to be funny and he's not. You know, it's not relatable. It's kind of embarrassing. So I really liked Bolin when he wasn't trying to be funny. Like when he actually especially like in the finale when first of all, Mako gets like I knew that's like you could zap it with a lightning bolt and then he actually does it, like, oh shit. And he's like, it's like, and I'm like, when I'm seeing like Mako like, no, Lucio Lightning, it's like, no, they don't have no, they're not gonna, oh shit. And it almost seemed like he was gonna die, and then Bolin was like, okay, thank God. But like Mako gets his big damn hero moment, that's great. Bolin gets his own in his own way, like saving his brother. That was very well done. So it's that kind of nice. I think and like, you know, a little minor thing with Opal, I guess, Bolin and Opal. That's another thing with Bolin and Opal. Like I remember like in season 3 when they started hinting at that, and I'm just sitting here like, wow, I don't think I could care less about a fictional couple. And then season 4 came around, and they started talking about the relationship troubles with Bolin and Opal, and I'm like, I was wrong. Now I couldn't care less about a fictional couple. It's just, I don't care. It's like I like Opal. I don't care all that much about Bolin when he's not. I don't care all that much about Bolin when he's trying to be funny. So I don't care about this relationship at all. So, but damn, Varric and Julie, that was interesting. I think with Korra, I just kind of started going with the flow of things. Like I think what happened with Korra is that like, I remember what happened with Airbender, and I decided, you know what, never again. I'm just gonna ride this out. I'm just gonna let the currents take me. Like, cause I'm just gonna, not get too involved in shipping wars, which I didn't. and just see what happens and just enjoy the ride. Because I did not do that with Airbender, and I got hurt. I essentially hurt myself. So that's what kind of happened this time. So like when things like Julie and Varric started actually becoming a bit more like relationship development, it's like, okay, I kind of care about this now, because I liked Julie's design like before, and then like when she's actually like, you know, given character, like when she's actually talking like full sentences, and she's actually showing character like, you know in her own cunning way, it's like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. And Varric is always a joy on screen. And so when they actually start hinting at that, I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's do this. And like some people, I think like Doug and Rob, I thought they were like they were like not so they were not. I guess they weren't as crazy about Julie and Varric that much because they didn't seem to be all that much developed really, or they interpret the characters in a different way. But I'm just kind of sitting here like, you know what? If there's anything that would like have Varric actually act more serious for a change, that'd be kind of cool. I didn't like in the earlier season episodes where something like, you know, very very romantic, like almost looks like it almost looks like something very romantic is going to happen with Varric and Julie, where it's like Julie, like, you know, expresses interest, and then Varric just like almost seems like it, and then just turns it on, and then just completely turns it, you know, for the sake of comedy. I wasn't laughing. I was frustrated and annoyed. So I was, so it was actually nice to see him, like in the finale, actually be serious, like actually be completely serious. It's like, Julie, will you do the thing with me, like marry me, right? It's like, okay, that was actually really nice. It's nice to I like seeing characters be more than just what they always seem to be, like what their default is. I like seeing characters out of their default, out of their comfort zone, because that's when you kind of get the range of the characters. Like, I think that's what bugged me about Asami sometimes, is that it didn't seem like she had a lot of a range. It's like she seemed like very much always poised and I don't know if poised is a word, but always like very nice and happy. But she does. But I do. Now that I think about it, she does show a lot of range, like showing like regret over, like regret and guilt and sadness over her dad, or like her being mad at like Mako or Varric, especially like in season 4, was just like, it's like, cross me one more fucking time. It was great. So. Yeah, somebody did show a bit more range, but like actually seeing Varric, you know, actually calm down from his usual like upbeat self, his usual upbeat self, and actually being dead serious for a moment. That shows a lot of range. I really like that. And at least with Julie, it's like she showed a lot more range than she usually does. I can't complain about that. So Korra, it's like that's on the one, very solid, very very well done. I really liked Kuvira as a villain, probably because of Zelda Williams, but yeah. So that was a really nice ending, and I need to get back into watching both shows probably. It's like I really need like all 4 seasons in my collection, like right now, like ASAP. And The Hobbit. I'm not really into Tolkien that much. I tried reading Fellowship of the Ring. Like, I have, like, a book. I have, like, yeah, it's like, back here, I have, like, the complete Lord of the Rings trilogy in one book, right? And I tried reading it one time, and I didn't even get through half of Fellowship of the Ring. And I have The Hobbit as well, but I haven't read The Hobbit. I have The Hobbit in German, and I tried reading that, but you know, it's difficult. German's difficult, especially like German writing is difficult because it's not in conversational past tense. It's in simple past tense, and the difference between that is annoying. So it's like you have to try, like, so it's like you have to constantly look up, you know, the words and conjugate them in your head. Oh yeah, with The Hobbit, I saw the first Hobbit movie while I was in Germany, so I saw it in German. and like you could probably go back and find a vlog of that. That was a really it was an interesting experience. I liked it. I didn't understand the context of what was going on most of the time, but I understand but I understand that stuff was happening. And really the only stuff that I remember from the only thing I really understand from the German, I think the only thing that I really remember understanding from the German was just like the scene with the riddles, where Bilbo and Gollum exchange riddles, and I don't remember the actual riddle, but I remember like the answer. I think the answer Gollum was like teeth, but we only have 9, right? So like 10, aber wir haben nur 9. So that kind of thing, right? Mein Schatz. But anyway, so I remember seeing also in German, Bilbo Baggins is Bilbo Beutlin. I don't know why they changed it, but yeah. And actually, if you look up like Beute, like the word Beute, it's like if you actually type it into Google Translate, it says swag, which is kind of funny. But no, it basically means like booty, or or booty, treasure, that kind of thing, right? So Baggins, I could see where they kind of took that and made it into made Baggins it into Beutlin. Okay, whatever. But like a lot of people are really polarized with the Hobbit movies. Like some really don't like them because of like how overstretched the story is. Some people are pretty alright with them. My girlfriend, who has basically grew up and read Tolkien, Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, she loves the Hobbit movies, and I think actually she seeing behind the scenes on the first Hobbit movie kind of got her inspired to go into film. I think that's what she said before. So all right, fine, and that's kind of my attitude with the Hobbit movies. I didn't see Desolation of Smaug in theaters, but I did see over the weekend I knew it was okay, we're planning on watching going to see the Battle of Five Armies. All right, so we watched Unexpected Journey, first time for me seeing it in English. So it's I finally get the context of things. I finally understand what's going on. I understand what things are because I've seen at least as for Lord of the Rings, I've only seen Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers, both the extended editions. I have not yet seen the extended edition of Return of the King, but yeah, that's another thing I can get into. But so I watched Unexpected Journey, and then the next day we watched Desolation of Smaug, and then we went to see the Battle of Five Armies. And I actually did get teary eyed during some of the Battle of Five Armies, death scenes like that. And by the end of it, part of me was actually kind of it made me feel that I wish that I was it kind of with Korra, I wish that I was a part of it while it was going on. That would have been interesting. That would have been pretty nice. My girlfriend reassures me that I can still be a part of it. I have the books, so I can still probably talk it over with other people. But I'm not very sociable, so it's kind of I'm not very sociable, so it's almost when it comes to fandoms and stuff like that, it's almost I'm always chasing the zeitgeist. It's kind of sad, but yeah, with the Hobbit movies, I'm all right with them. I understand where people are coming from. I understand that the people who read the book and love the movies. I understand that the people who read the book and don't like the movies. And I'm just they're fine. I mean, I like the lightness and tone. The Lord of the Rings seemed very much they were fantasy epics. They were very much self-serious. But here it's there's actually some nice little humor, a lot lighter, and I like that. Not as heavy. Still long, but it's still very light. So yeah, so I do kind of dig the Hobbit movies in their own way. Not much I could say about that. There are some cuts that I remember seeing in Lord of the Rings in the Hobbit, where it's like, oh wow, that looks like it would be much cleaner in an extended cut. Because that's what I noticed about like watching the Lord of the Rings extended editions, like of Fellowship and Two Towers, is that like the editing in the extended editions flow a lot better than I remember from the theatrical cut of Fellowship. But it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know if I can actually go back and watch the theatrical cuts of any of the Lord of the Rings movies, despite me actually having them in German. But it's like, I don't know if I can actually do that, because then I'll notice where things were cut, and I would get so annoyed. Like, I would notice like where a lot of the quick cuts would be, and I'm like, that's not fun. I want things to be like it's like sure Fellowship is a lot longer. Like sure, like the extended editions are basically like 4 hours apiece, but they flow a lot better. And I think the Hobbit movies, they were long, but they flowed in their own way. I think they were pretty okay with in terms of the editing. Like, it wasn't until like maybe the second or third Hobbit movie where I realized there's some quick cuts in here that probably would be cleaned up in an extended edition, which is a terrifying prospect. But especially like when you get into like, yeah, let's marathon Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit all fucking day, the entire day, almost an entire 24 hours. With maybe like 20 minutes left over, so like 5-minute breaks in between each movies. And then, if you're still awake, if you want to go really hardcore, you watch the animated ones. Good luck, suckers. Honestly, that should turn into like a fundraising marathon. Like the fundraising marathon, it should be a fundraising marathon. It's like, okay, we get like a bunch of people, and it's like if you pass like this amount of mark, we'll add each movie, right? So it's like, okay, so it's like we'll do a fundraiser. It's like, all right, we'll watch like theatrical cut, Fellowship, and then you raise more money. All right, Two Towers, more money, Return of the King. Okay, then you bring in the theatrical cuts of The Hobbits, like all three of them, right? It's like, okay, like getting more and more and more, and then if you keep getting more money, you go into the extended cuts. All of them, like more and more, you get the extended cut of each one, and then if you keep getting more money, you get the Rankin Bass and the Ralph Bakshi. Because if you're awake at that point, you will take anything. Oh man, I think if I went back and watched the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings movie, I would actually be pretty alright with it. Because I'm pretty sure that was like my first experience with the series. Like I remember that movie being played on Cartoon Network, like way back. And the scene that always stuck out to me was the scene where Frodo and friends are hiding from the Ring Wraith, where it's like and it's like they're in like the little dugout under the roots of the tree, and the Ring Wraith is just like, Shire parents, just like looking for them, and then Frodo's just like getting out the ring and just, whether or not he should put it on. Like that always stuck out to me. Like that was the animated version, and then I remember like walking into a room somewhere, and someone watching Fellowship, and that was the scene that was on. I was like, I remember this scene. I remember this actually being the scene there, and I think I got that far in Fellowship. Like when reading the book, I think I actually got that far in Fellowship. I know I did. I think that was before they met Tom Bombadil, right? I do remember meeting Tom Bombadil when I read Fellowship. So I do remember reading that scene in the book. So that like that scene always sticks out to me. Like whenever I think Lord of the Rings, that like hiding from the wraith, and like and just debating whether or not to put on the ring, just scared shitless. So it's really so like that's always like sticks in my mind. So if I went back and watched the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings, I think I'd be all right with it. And maybe the Rankin Bass Hobbit isn't that bad. I don't know about Return of the King though. Yeah, but we'll see. Like that, like at least it's like at the very least, the Hobbit movies, for good or for ill, they have piqued my interest a lot more. Like instead of just having like like the cultural fandom osmosis of being like, hey, these people reblog a lot of Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, a lot of Tolkien stuff, right? And so I'm mildly aware of what Tolkien is. Like I'm mildly aware about the Tolkien stuff, right? Now I'm just like, okay, I'm actually kind of interested, Like I might actually be able to get into this. I have some background knowledge because of the osmosis. And maybe it's like, all right, I think I'll figure out like what's going on. Well, two things that I've had. So basically, like the summary of these three finales. Two where I was on and off with interest, but ended up really caring about that they were ending, and the other one where it's like one that I've had passive interest, but I still cared about ending. I cared about that they were ending, that it was ending. So you know what, this will be. So you know what. Here's to the end of the year. Here's to the end of all of the great shows that ended. And here's to 2015 being a whole lot better of a year than 2014 was. Holy shit. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Have a good day.